All right, it is the longest government shutdown in U.S. history, now in day 41, and it could soon be coming to an end. The Senate advanced a funding deal with 8 Democrats who actually joined the Republicans, paving the way to fund the government through January 30th. The deal would restore all the SNAP benefits and may actually even help with thousands of flight cancellations and delays. Joining me now is Washington Stand reporter Casey Harper. Casey, you and I have been talking about this week after week after week.
That's
right.
Are
we finally seeing the end, potentially, of the Schumer shutdown?
That's right, Jody. It may finally be here. The longest government shutdown in U.S. history could be coming to an end. This is all because senators hatched a plan to restore federal funding that cleared its first hurdle on Sunday night. And final approval, the long-awaited final approval, could happen even this week. Here's what Majority Leader John Thune had to say about it.
I said that we will be voting on the final package in the very near future, and I'm hoping that will be hours and not days. Nutrition benefits are in jeopardy. Air travel is an extremely precarious situation. Our staffs and many other government workers have been working for nearly 6 weeks without pay.
So this deal would reopen government agencies, which, as you know, have been closed since October 1st. And of course, it's going to bring relief to those unpaid federal workers and their struggling families, as well as the millions of travelers who have been hit with these flight cancellations. So under the new deal, funding would be extended all the way through January 30th, which keeps the government open long enough for lawmakers to hash out a longer appropriations deal. Now, moderate Democrats, including Minority Whip Dick Durbin and some independents, they brokered this agreement to reopen the government with Republicans and pass 3 key appropriations bills. Here's Senator Durbin.
Many of my friends are unhappy. They think we should have kept our government closed indefinitely to protest the policies of the Trump administration. I share their opinions of this administration, but cannot accept a strategy which wages political battle at the expense of my neighbor's paycheck or the food for his children.
Well, while the Senate and the House still need to pass the bill and President Trump has to sign it, both parties do say they're ready to end the shutdown, Jody.
So what happens next, Casey? When do you anticipate the House coming back into session?
Yeah, Jody. So Speaker Mike Johnson, he said earlier today that the House of Representatives is ready to come back in session as soon as the Senate takes the final vote. But he also went on to say that because of all these flight cancellations and delays, the lawmakers need to head to D.C. right now.
At the very moment that they do that final vote, I will call all House members to return to Washington as quickly as possible. We'll give a 36-hour formal and official notice so that we can vote as soon as possible to pass the amended CR bill and get it to the president's desk.
Meanwhile, President Trump has demanded air traffic controllers return to work today as government-directed flight cuts and air traffic staffing absences continue to wreak havoc on the U.S. air travel system, Jody.
Wow. Well, what about, Casey, I understand there was an important Supreme Court case that you've been following. What took place with that today?
Yeah, Jody. So the U.S. Supreme Court has officially refused to hear Kim Davis's case challenging so-called same-sex marriage. Now, Davis is a former Kentucky clerk who back in 2015 was put in jail for refusing to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples. She said it violated her Christian faith to put her name on those certificates. She asked the court to protect her religious freedom in a case that could have revisited the legal definition of marriage, but justices have declined to take up the case, Jody.
Well, looking now to some international news, Casey, I know President Trump met with Syria's president today at the White House. What all did they discuss?
Yeah, Jody, everyone is watching this meeting. President Trump held a low-key meeting, no media allowed, with Syrian President Ahmad al-Sharaa, who's a former al-Qaeda commander, actually, who until recently was on Washington's terrorist blacklist, but now is trying to end Syria's decades of international isolation. One of Sharaa's chief aims in this visit was to push for full removal of the tough U.S. sanctions. While he met with Trump behind closed doors, the U.S. Treasury Department did announce it will not enforce their sanctions for another 180 days, though it's important to note only Congress can permanently lift them entirely. Now, reports say the leaders discussed protecting minorities, ensuring religious freedom for Druze and Christians, and a possible security agreement with Israel. Because in Syria, Jody, attacks on the Syrian Druze have fueled calls for secession, with many of those Druze actually looking to Israel for protection.
Wow, so much happening in the news all around the world. Casey, thank you so much for these updates. We appreciate it very much.